Okay, I'm in the mood for another Universal horror movie, and this time, it's Son of Frankenstein.
Yeah, after Dracula's Daughter didn't do as well as the original, Universal stopped making horror movies for about 2 years, but when they re-released Dracula and Frankenstein, it did really good, so they decided to make a sequel to Frankenstein where the main character is Frankenstein's son.
I'm talking about the doctor here. I'm not talking about the monster. The monster doesn't have a son.
Son of Frankenstein being released January 13th, 1939, 4 years since the last Frankenstein movie, but anyway, Frankenstein's son tries to fix his father's work, but yeah, Igor screws it up.
But I'll talk about him a little later. Anyway, let's watch Son of Frankenstein and see what they've forgotten over the past 4 years since the last movie.
Anyway, the movie begins with Frankenstein's son riding to Frankenstein's castle, him explaining what happened in the first two.
It was the unforeseen blunder of a stupid assistant that gave his creation the brain of a killer instead of a normal one.
Okay, it still was Frankenstein's fault because the jar said abnormal brain. He could have easily saw that, so it's not all Fritz's fault.
His name has become synonymous with horror and monsters. Why, 9 out of 10 people call that misshapen creature of my father's experiments Frankenstein.
Well, of course they're going to call the monster Frankenstein. You put the monster on all of the posters, which said Frankenstein, so they thought the monster was Frankenstein. And you also called the last movie Bride of Frankenstein.
So anyway, they get there and understandably the town doesn't really like him, but when he gets home, the Spectre comes to visit.
And he doesn't have an arm, which is actually kind of unintentionally funny. I mean, it's just the way he moves it around.
But he lost his hand because the monster ripped it off.
And yeah, guessing by how the monster is, he probably would have been nice to the kid, just, if they didn't attack him, he would have left them alone.
As he's gonna protect him from the town, as the murders are still happening, as the next morning, the grandson of Frankenstein is going hunting.
I hope I don't have teeth like that.
Why, darling?
Cause they're too hard to clean.
And I won't lie, this kid is an awful actor. He sounds like he's constantly fucking drunk. I mean, it's not his fault, he's a kid. And luckily he's not in enough of the movie for me to find this annoying, so I really don't care. But he still is a bad actor.
But Frankenstein goes to his father's old laboratory.
Even though this happened in the last movie. But don't worry, blowing it up didn't do a thing, because that house just keeps rebuilding itself over and over again anytime it's destroyed.
But there's a man who tries to kill him with a hunchback and a broken neck.
Who's Igor, who people thought was the name of the hunchback in the original, but no, that was Fritz.
Nobody can mend Igor's neck. It's all right.
Oh, and he's played by Bella Lugosi, who does a great job in the role.
As the monster is down there, alive but passed out.
He's alive!
Ah, like father, like son.
As Igor wants the doc to fix the monster.
Because a lightning bolt hit him in the head, which does make sense that would knock him out, because, yeah, it brought him to life. I guess it could knock him out, too. And don't ask me what happened to the bride. I have no idea. She isn't in this movie, nor is she mentioned.
Anyway, Frankenstein starts to study his father's monster, seeing that it's pretty damn sturdy, it having bullets in his heart.
Yeah, while it isn't necessary, you might want to take those bullets out before you wake him up.
As it showed, the monster's made really well, as his father didn't know he was able to get cosmic rays to awaken the monster. But he used the lightning to bring the monster back to life.
It's no good, Igor. I've done everything I can.
Or not.
But that day the Spectre is there, little Frankenstein is able to meet him, as the little guy talks about meeting a giant, as he says he took a hold of his arm.
Yeah, like I've said before, as long as you're nice to the monster will be nice to you. Of course, anytime the monster has killed, it has been manipulated, or it's done it out of instinct because it's being attacked. truthfully, I think the monster could be good as long as you give it some love.
But anyway, the monster finds Frankenstein, but he can tell that he is his creator's son.
Yeah, the monster may not be smart, but I guess it's smart enough to be able to tell that's Frankenstein's son.
As Igor comes in seeing his friend is okay again, Igor can get the monster to do anything, but Frankenstein wants to study the monster more, but Igor will not allow it.
Yeah, Igor clearly is not a true friend to the monster. If he was a true friend, he would try to help the monster, not try to control it.
But Igor's gonna be a problem, as he makes the monster kill a man and makes it look like an accident.
And guessing by how the monster has been killing for Igor for years and making them look for a suicide, he probably has failed a couple times and they look like murder. It probably took him a lot of practice to be able to kill him this way because, yeah, the monster isn't that bright.
But the butler is missing and Frankenstein is being very sus, as they find the man that the monster killed.
Oh, yeah, I probably should have mentioned this. So anytime the monster kills someone, their heart explodes from the impact. Now, if the monster didn't hit them so hard, they probably wouldn't be able to tell that it's him.
But the monster doesn't do that, as another person is killed, and the Frankensteins are forced to stay because the mob outside is really pissed off at Frankenstein.
And I gotta say, I like Basil Rathbone. Now, not as much as Colin Clyde, but I still did like him. Mainly because he's such a terrible fucking liar. He gets madder and madder throughout the movie.
Anyway, though, the inspector talks to the grandson of Frankenstein, as he says that the monster comes out of the wall and that the monster gave him the butler's watch.
Yeah, Igor, you probably shouldn't have let the monster have that watch. Because, yeah, that was not a good idea.
As Frankenstein goes to kill the monster, but is unsuccessful, as Igor says the monster doesn't belong to him.
He's mine. He don't belong to you.
Yeah, that is true, but he doesn't belong to you either, Igor.
But the inspector comes in to arrest Frankenstein while he plays darts.
And I gotta say, I think this is my favorite scene in the movie. I mean, Frankenstein is so damn sus because he's such a terrible fucking liar. And I fucking love it.
But the inspector goes upstairs and looks for a secret passage and is able to find it, and he finds the butler's body.
Yeah, don't ask me why I didn't look for the secret passageway earlier, because I got no fucking idea.
Anyway, Frankenstein is done with Igor's shit and shoots him.
But don't worry, he's not dead. He's in the next movie. And he's also technically in Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman.
But the monster finds Igor's body and is pissed as the inspector talks to Frankenstein because he found the butler's body and says this.
By heaven, I think you're a worse fiend than your father. Where is this monster? Where is he?
Maybe a little. I mean, I wouldn't call either of them evil, because in the original, Frankenstein only wanted to create a man and only stole dead bodies. And then his son only wanted to fix his father's creation. I wouldn't consider either evil for that. And if you really want to see evil, watch the Hammer Frankenstein series.
Anyway, they decide they're gonna play some more darts.
And I love how the inspector puts the dart into his arm. I actually find that fucking hilarious.
But they're sadly gonna have to stop playing their game, as the monster has the kid, so they're gonna need to save him by Frankenstein kicking the monster in some molten sulfur.
Killing his father's creation for about a year.
Anyway, the Frankensteins leave the Frankenstein's estate to the villagers and leave happily, as the villagers can do whatever the hell they want with the place.
But they don't, because they need that place for sequels. And I mean, sure, they could destroy the place, but it would rebuild itself anyway. But, whatever. So, anyway, that was Son of Frankenstein, and it's great.
Yeah, when I first watched the movie, I preferred Bride, but now I think I prefer Son. I mean, the movie is better in ways, though I wish there were a few things in it. Like, this movie not having the bride, I feel like that was a missed opportunity to not have her in the movie or any of the other sequels, because she was really iconic, and for her to only be in the end of the last movie, it's really disappointing. And then I wish the monster talked still, because I liked how sympathetic he was in the last movie. Here, he doesn't have any lines. I mean, sure, there was that one scene with the mirror, and I did like that scene, and I did like his relationship with the kid, but Boris Karloff did, again, a great job, but sadly, this is his last time playing the monster.
Though it's technically not the last Frankenstein movie he'll be in.
Also, Basil Rathbone is also good as the Son of Frankenstein. He's actually not as good as Colin Clyde, but I do like him. You know, he's an awful liar, and throughout the movie he gets more and more mad, and you can especially see this in the dart scene, but then there's also Bella Lugosi as Igor, who's definitely the most entertaining actor in this movie, and he does a pretty good job, though. Sadly, this did lead to him playing Frankenstein. The Wolfman means Frankenstein. Well, I guess he kind of played Frankenstein in Ghost of Frankenstein, but anyway, after a rewatch, I think I prefer this movie to Bride, though I still love Bride. I think this movie is just slightly better than Bride, I think, but anyway, I'm gonna give Son of Frankenstein a 5 out of 5.
Anyway, next week we're reviewing... yeah, that. See you then.